helped us put this together. So thank you very much. Welcome all of you for being here today. We are starting our Viking Cruises consumer event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm spotlighting here Mr. Darren.
Oh,
And let me spotlight myself real quick. There we go.
there we go. That's better.
First of all, thank you all very, very much for being here today. I am a little nervous because we are at 97 people and Denise and I were just talking about it, and we're not 100% sure we actually upgraded the account for over 100 people.
Record and share.
Let's just hope if we don't see the number going up for 100 after 100, then that means that we have an issue, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, so thank you all for being here today. I see a lot of names that I recognize, so thank you all of you guys that usually participate in our consumer events. We do this because we want to share as much knowledge and education as there we go. Okay, so we're good. We don't have 110.
You're doing well. You'll accept it. You'll receive a fine in the mail, but you'll be fine.
Very good. I think we're going to have a very large attendance today. I guess Viking, I guess it's a little popular, maybe. Our clients definitely like the brand. We do an incredible amount of business with Viking. And that's why we are one of the few agencies that have a relationship big enough to have a dedicated director like Darren basically be our point of contact within Viking. And so I want to thank you all for being here today again. It is going to be a very fun event. The idea is we do have some pictures and some slides that we're going to show, but it's a conversation with Darren. It's an opportunity to grill him on Viking. Obviously, they do an incredible job, and after thousands of clients, we hear nothing but great reviews about the brand, and that's why we continue to support it as well, because of such a great relationship that we have. And so, I have a list of questions that I prepared for today. But for those of you that have been on some of these before, remember that we have a chat box at the bottom of the screen. Okay, I'm going to say hello, and that right here. Okay, and that is where you probably see a little pop-up come up in the bottom of your screen, and that's where you would go to type your questions. The idea is that we'll do our best to communicate as much as we can throughout the conversation. If there is something that we're not addressing enough or we're not asking enough questions about, feel free to interrupt, feel free to ask us to stop, and we'll be happy to address a particular question. And if it's something that can wait, or a comment or something like that, you can type it in the meeting chat, and we'll be happy. We will get back at the end of the event. We'll have an entire, some good amount of time for Q&A, and I'll read each one of those questions and make sure that we get the answers from Darren. I'm going to be, all of you guys are going to be muted. So as we, start the event, we're muting you, all of you guys. Just make sure to avoid any background noise or anything like that. But again, if you feel that there's something you want to ask, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask away. Okay. I'll do introductions in just 1 second, but also before I forget, throughout the event, we might send some pop-ups with some questions because we do want to know a little bit of who is with us on today's event, whether or not you've sailed with Viking before, whether or not you have done business with us before. So just like this one, have you sailed with Viking before? Please submit your answers, and then we might push some of these along the way throughout the event. There's going to be another one later on about whether or not you've done business with Luxury Cruise Connections before as well. So we'd like to know who our audience is, and that also helps us direct the conversation toward you. Let's see, we have 110 people. So officially welcoming all of you. 54% of you have sailed with Viking before. That's great. 46% have not. Even better. Let's take it away. Let's start with some introductions, shall we? Darren, who are you?
Who am I? Thank you, Carlos, and thank you to everybody, Luxury Cruise Connections, and thank you everybody for joining this afternoon. We all live a very busy life, and it is wonderful to see so many people. I'm just looking at that spec right now on the percentage. So thank you for those who have joined us before. I hope you're coming to join the presentation so you can learn more about your next travels. And those joining for the first time, we look forward to welcoming you on board. I am Darren Dolan. I am Director of Business Development for Viking. I have just celebrated my 12th anniversary with the company. So it's been a ride. I've seen a lot of change. We had exciting times, good times, bad times, but here we all are. My core role in the company is, as Carlos alluded to there, is to be the conduit, right, between our amazing travel partners, such as Luxury Cruise Connections and the company itself. My role is to ensure that Carlos and the team are receiving the latest in marketing, the best in assistance, in providing them help when needed, and building relations. And I think we've managed to do that, you know, and be that person that if you were booking direct through Viking, you might not necessarily get that assistance and that help that you were looking for. And I always like to start off my presentations and just saying, if you are booking direct through Viking, you're doing yourself an injustice. You truly, truly are. There is no added value. There is no better pricing, because Viking has a very strict non-rebating policy. We put that out to make it fair for everyone. And at the end of the day, what you are missing out on is amenities that our wonderful travel partners, such as Luxury Cruise Connections, can provide you. That you would not necessarily get through the company. They are there 24 hours a day. You gauge these wonderful relationships with their advisors. They are a member of Virtuoso. I mean, as a consortium, as what we refer to as a national account, they too have even stronger backing behind them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you've all joined here today to be on this presentation with Carlos and the team. It only makes sense. I think this shows strength that I don't do this for everyone. It would be impossible for me to do that. But it just shows you the strength and the relationship that we have. And again, this is my major role in the company, is to work with fabulous people such as Carlos and the entire team.
I appreciate it very, very much, Darren. And I am Carlos Edry, and I'm the CEO of Luxury Cruise Connections. And with me in today's event, Denise, our marketing manager, Mike, our sales manager, and a big part of our team. You will recognize them in the screen because they have their name followed by a dash Luxury Cruise Connections. Wonderful team members of Luxury Cruise Connections, both in sales advisors and concierge managers here at our agency, at our company. And the reason why we like to bring them on to this event is for two reasons. One is because obviously we're all about relationships. We're all about building relationships, and that means that it is how can you build relationships if we don't have this one-to-one connections, right? And these opportunities to meet, but also because we're all about education as well. And while we like to believe that we are experts at in every single sense of travel and cruising, there's always room for learning more. So that's why. And I want to welcome all of you guests that are here today, as well as our Luxury Cruise Connections members that are with us today. And the reason why we're doing this, kind of to complement a little bit on what Darren was saying, is because our job is to know the client, right? Our job is to understand our clients and always do what is best for our clients. But at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to recommend and advise our clients on a product that we believe are going to deliver the level of experience and the level of luxury that as an agency we preach. So we feel extremely confident every time we put one of our clients on top of a Viking experience, because we know that they're going to come back raving about the experience and they're going to refer their friends. Not only that, but also because we have such solid relationship, right? So kind of going back to what Darren was saying and the reasons why, whenever you're thinking about a Viking cruise, you want to do it with a cruise agency such as Luxury Cruise Connections, is because whenever we have something that does not go exactly to plan, and of course, I'm sure you can imagine we had a lot of that throughout the pandemic, right? We hope we never have another one like those, but when things do go a little bit off how they were supposed to go, then we have a relationship with Darren. We have somebody to take this to escalate things through, like when especially anytime that anytime you're booking something direct and you happen to have a little bit of an issue, your only option is deal with customer relations. We have that extra relationship where if there's something that we realize needs additional escalation, that's where Darren comes in. But he's not there to just fix problems. He's there to help us enhance the experience, make each one of your trips even more special. And it is because of that relationship that we enjoy working with Viking so much. They really make it that easy. And could be the reason why Viking happens to be the one cruise line that we book the most here at Luxury Cruise Connections. So, it has to be because both our clients love it, and as well as because we love it, right? And so without any, there you go. So thank you, Denise, for pushing that along. Many of you guys that are here today, can attest to our commitment to customer service and our commitment to making this experiences great. And so from results that I'm seeing so far, about half of you guys have done business with us in the past and half of you have not. So for those that haven't, hopefully this will be a great introduction and give us an opportunity to take care of your future cruises and surprise you, and then you refer your friends, and that's how we grow.
I have a question for you guys. Can I interrupt?
Of course.
Okay, and now I have for the first time. Previously, I tried to book with your Viking, and there was a medical problem, so I had to cancel that. This is maybe a year or two back, and I booked with Viking directly. I didn't know that Viking encourages more booking through their agents. Now I have booked with Viking, then maybe I'm missing out on a lot of stuff which you allow your agents. So that's not, I would say, to use not a happy word, fair, right? We are booked with Vikings and we are missing out.
Hopefully we will have an opportunity to connect after the event, and we'll be happy to help you moving forward, and hopefully you can take advantage of all the benefits that as a great Viking partner we have moving forward, we can extend to you as well. So thank you very much for the comment. We'll make sure I'm going to have somebody from our team reach out to you even throughout the event so that we can start a relationship and take it from there.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Thanks.
Thank you. So Darren, let's get this started.
Yes, let's get the party started, as the song goes.
So talk to me. Half of our people have booked with Viking before, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but half of them have not. Give me a little bit of a brief history on Viking. Like, where do you guys come from? A little bit of the company.
Sure thing. And again, going back to the fact that my tenure itself takes us pretty much halfway through our history, roughly. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary. And so it's been a while. We've been doing this, not the longest in the industry, but we've been doing it a while. And I think we've got it right. When the company first set up, we focused primarily on the European market, selling to the French, the Germans, and such. But Mr. Hagen, our wonderful chairman, many of you have probably seen him in our TV commercials and probably receive emails and booklets from him on a daily basis. Sort of the future of the company really lay here in North America. So in 2011, actually, when I started with the company, we started this push focusing on North America, on the US and Canada. And it was around about that time we made the announcement we're going to introduce these magnificent Viking longships, an image of which you see behind me. They were going to revolutionize river cruising and actually introduce river cruising to the North American segment, right? Because not many people knew about river cruising at that time. We set about doing this, set about building the ships, and then probably one of the most amazing pieces of marketing in the travel industry history took place. Many on the presentation today will be very familiar with Masterpiece Theatre, PBS, and a little show called Downton Abbey. And it really did put us as a brand in front of people. To give you an idea of the scope of that, we took over the sponsorship of that from Shell Oil. Wasn't cheap, but my goodness, it got eyes on us, right? So much so, every Sunday night, the phone started ringing after 26 million viewers would watch Downton Abbey. And we started getting requests for people who wanted to cruise on the Downton boat. What a Downton boat was, we had no idea. But for those who know the show, Downton Abbey, the cast, that's basically what. We built 12 additional ships because of that sponsorship alone. In conjunction with, we started gathering database and we started reaching out to future clients in the United States and emailing you and mailing you brochures, as I'm sure many on the presentation receive on a daily basis from us. We're a bit of a marketing machine, as you would, and we really position ourselves as the #1 river cruise line in North America. But our guests were also taking ocean cruises, either 12 months before or 12 months after. So we were kind of only getting half the business that we wanted. And we started listening to our Viking River guests who were saying, I'd love to be able to ocean cruise in the Viking way. So we set about doing and working on this. And we started about building ocean ships. And the Viking Sky was the first of Viking Star was the first of our ocean vessels to hit the waters in May of 2015. And that just took us on an amazing journey from that moment on. That was the launch of the initial, what is today, and we're about to be in Italy to launch the 10th of our ocean fleet. Our river fleet has grown to some 80 ships. Our ocean fleet has grown to some 10. And on top of that, we recently introduced expedition cruises, 2 brand new purpose-built vessels, the Octantis and the Polaris, to take care of our expedition cruising, as well as Great Lakes cruising here in North America. And then finally, after many years of challenging and listening and being asked the question, when is Viking coming to North America? Very excitedly, we were able to launch the Viking Mississippi around about August of September 2022. And so the slide that Carlos has just put up, and thank you for putting that up, speaks volumes. Within 25 years, we are now the only cruise line, single entity cruise line that can show you numbers like this, that once you come to Viking, it's not just about rivers. We expand on all our itineraries. We then expand onto the world of ocean cruising, all the way to be able to enjoy Antarctic and expedition cruising, and now domestic river cruising here in North America. And really, in a nutshell, that's been our 25-year journey.
I have been a witness to all this growth. I mean, when we started selling Viking, it was just river, and then your ocean ships took over and took off. Yeah. And it's been incredible growth from then. And then we've had many events that I've been thankful to have participated on board the river, and then learning about your evolution to expedition and now Mississippi. I mean, it really shows a huge amount of strength. But you guys are not a publicly traded company, so what's going on? I mean, sometimes we get clients asking us, like, I'm paying Viking all this money so far out, like, how do I know they're solid? Can you give us a little bit of
it falls under one thing: amazing leadership and strength. It really does. Again, we're going to go back to our chairman, Mr. Hagen. What a visionary. Again, as a single entity, as you said, not publicly traded. Few years back, we sold off around about 11% of the company to a hedge fund here, as well as the Canadian retirement fund. At their last meeting, they said they never expected any return that they're seeing today. Why do people pay so far in advance? And it's a really good question. I think your advisors can pretty much tell them their story, is the fact that we sell out. I mean, this is not just making things up for making things up. You know, the demand for the product is so great that if you want to ensure that you want to sail on that particular date, in that particular category, in that particular stateroom, you must, you know, commitment is required, because if not, there's somebody waiting right behind you is ready to take that very same place. And, you know, it just speaks volumes when we speak about that just this last Friday, we were able to launch 2025 river cruise itineraries. Oceans have been open, 25 rivers have opened. I know some river cruise lines are just announcing that 2024.
Yeah.
itinerary.
And I'm sure your 26 World Cruise is going to be announced sometime soon.
Sometime soon. World Cruises are an anomaly, a great collection. It's remarkable to see the demand. We've successfully, with the exception of the one COVID year where we were going on a world cruise, but still took one. And folks still stayed on board. Since 2017, we've successfully operated our world cruises with the exception of that 1 year. And unlike other cruise lines where we sell the world cruise as an entire world cruise, not the segments, which I think shows strength as well.
Yeah, no, and I'm gonna go back at the end of the Q&A section. I want to dig a little bit more into the payments conversation, because I know that's a question that is going to come up. But to kind of try to stay a little bit on track. Sorry, 1 second. That's not me sharing the screen. So let me see if I can. I think if I do this and I can force it. Okay, 1 second. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, right?
See the slide.
Okay.
Now I see you.
Okay. All right. So let me see. The next question that I have for you is, all right, so we learned about Viking and the background of Viking and the history of Viking, the strength of Viking, which is all very important. But who is Viking catering to? Who is your target client? Like, you know, when we're advertising Viking, who are we speaking to, and why?
Yeah, and a great question. You know, we have a tagline, Carlos, one of many taglines that we have, but one that's really focused and one that allows me to, you know, educate you all is we won't be everything to everyone. And I think that's really been the secret of our success, in knowing who the Viking client is. And we continue, and we will continue to focus on that North American guest, that English-speaking experience, right? So our client, 90% of our clients are being sourced from US, Canada. The remaining 10% from those other countries where apparently they do speak English, but with funny accents, the UK, Australia. So that's where the remainder of the 10% comes in. And then that already sets a tone, right? As I mentioned at the very beginning, we used to sell to the French, to the Germans, and we'd have everybody mixed up. It was a cultural salad, as you would, and it wasn't that, you know, nothing would combine. Since we focused on this North American market and went to an English-speaking experience, we've ascertained the fact that it's the 55+ market that really want to sail with us. So we focus on that market, we market to them. And the fact that we don't have children on board really is a differentiator. It really does set apart. So as we focus on that same demographic, we know that the folks coming to sail with us are doing so with like-mindedness, that common interest in history, geography, architecture, culinary aspects. So when we all do come together on the ships, we have there's a common bind between us, without the interruption of children and family groups and such to come along. So, you know, knowing who our client is, why they travel with us, really has helped us focus on that, and has allowed us to stay the course and to really, you know, enhance ourselves listening to that group. Because if you have that core group together, whenever you speak to the client or the guest, you're getting common knowledge. And that's something, if we're making an improvement for the majority are happy with that change, and mentees. And so, you know, we've changed, we're all more active now, right? So adding more active shore excursions and such like that, it's just a prime, you know, just a prime example of what we do, even though we still focus on that same age group.
That's very interesting, because not only do you preach it, but you really walk that talk. Like you're not flexible at all when it comes to, can I bring my grandchildren? No, there's no kids on board. I like art auctions. Well, that's a different cruise line. There's no art auctions on board Viking. There's no casinos, period.
Nope.
There will never be a casino.
Nope. Nope.
You're never going to be sold a Wi-Fi promotion on board the ship, because Wi-Fi is included. You're never going to see, there's no smoking on board, period. There's not.
Mr. Hagen is a very true believer, Carlos, and again, that's been that vision, right? Of if we're going to do it, we'll do it right, and if it's not worth doing right, we don't do it at all. So it's really important to know who you are as a brand, who you cater for, and the wants and the want-nots. Mr. Hagen himself says, I know this because I'm a Viking client. So yeah, we really tap into that. We really do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and as we talk about this, what is included in a typical Viking cruise?
Absolutely. We define ourselves as highly inclusive. So you'll note that I'm saying not all inclusive. There are all inclusive brands out there, but we again differentiate ourselves by calling ourselves highly inclusive. You already alluded to some of the inclusions that you would find in this magical, I know when you do comparisons between other brands, you'll see that Viking's pricing is extremely competitive. We do define ourselves as that value proposition when it comes to cruising. And as a result of the high inclusivity, it allows you to enjoy to your want, to your needs. So when you come to sail with us, you are going to enjoy a shore experience in every port that we visit. In some of the major ports, we're able to offer a couple of options for those complimentary inclusives. We are offering beer, wine, sodas with all meals. We are offering complimentary Wi-Fi, and I know just I was an exciting call on Monday that Wi-Fi is starting to get some really good attention to upgrade and update the Wi-Fi. So that's all good news for everybody. Little note on that: we spend more on Wi-Fi fleet-wide than we do on fuel. That just gives you an idea of how important Wi-Fi is to mankind today, right? Specialty coffee, specialty waters. When we start looking at the larger vessels where we've got multiple optional dining venues, specialty dining, there's no additional cost there. It's all based on reservations. So you've got all those factors. Now I always like to say there's 3 items there that are missing, maybe missing, depending on how you like to enjoy that. I alluded immediately to the complimentary shore experience, right? In every port that we enjoy, and that is enjoyed by everyone everywhere. We go to the furthest lengths possible to ensure that you enjoy your complimentary, as well as the opportunity to sign up for one of the optional tours, the specialty excursions or experiences, I think is a better word, right? And these are specialized with interest. We break those down into the local life, into working world, and privileged access. So, not everybody may have an interest in choirs and classical music. But for those who do, can you imagine going to Vienna, spending an afternoon with a Vienna Boys Choir? Nobody else can bring that opportunity to you. Going to Mercedes-Benz factory to see how those cars are manufactured, from cutting the steel all the way to, ready to be exported, or just simply going on an evening stroll and a dinner in Cologne to enjoy, the traditional beer tours and such like that. So those do come at optional cost. People will say, how much do those cost? Well, how long is a piece of string? It is all based on whatever that individual experience will be and how many people attend and such like that. So there's a great variance, but you can always keep that in mind. Number 2, I mentioned beer, wine, sodas. We don't include alcoholic beverages. Again, with a thinking person's cruise, not necessarily the drinking person's cruise, right? And that's another one of Mr. Hagen's lines that he used. When we know this and we see this, So we offer the Silver Spirits package. The Silver Spirits beverage package is available to sell, for you to purchase rather. And you can do so prior to cruising through your advisor. And then at 20, there has been an increase. If there's anybody on the call this evening or this afternoon who said, hey, that's not what we paid. It's now, as of January the 1st, it is now $25 per person per day. That provides open bar and upgraded wines, as well as percentages off, specialty wines as well. That's two. Number three, it is what makes the Viking experience. I can sit here today and host with you. You can speak to your clientele. Your advisors can speak to their clients. But at the end of the day, it's when the folks come to join us on board and the experience that Viking service. Can you imagine how we've expanded as a brand, as I explained, just in the last 11 years, 12 years alone, to be able to hire, train, and maintain that high quality of service that we've become synonymous with is phenomenal. I heard on Monday, we had a call with our Basel office in Switzerland. We are now close to 4,600 crew and staff members. It's just remarkable. And the retention rate is just on 10% approximately, which is unheard of. Why? Because we take care of these folks and they love doing what they do. We do not include gratuities in our pricing, and that's where I was getting to. We set that standard and that guideline, which is 17. Let's work on 17 euros per person per day. It's almost 1-to-1 in these days, right? And we really encourage our clients on board, our guests on board, to reward at the end of their experience based on the service that they've received. And 2019, we got to skip back a couple of years because of recent times. When we look at that and we're getting closer, almost 80% of folks sailing with us are actually adding to that guideline at the end of their cruise, because our goal is always to meet expectations, but our goal is to exceed expectations. And I think that speaks volumes. So you can take those gratuities if you so wish to purchase the Silver Spirits package. That's all good and well. And you can then add that to your cruise fare, right? And now you can look at it as an all-inclusive based on how you would like to enjoy that. Long answer for a quick question. Sorry.
I've sailed with Viking multiple times, and I can attest to the fact that the experience is a big part of the difference, right? I'm just going to say a couple of things that I know are important to share. When it comes to the rivers, Viking owns most of the docking stations within the rivers in Europe. So if anybody has been on a river cruise before, you would know that sometimes, docking is important, where you actually dock and how far you are from city center. Or the fact that you might or might not have to go through, 5 different ships to actually get onshore. So, when you own those docks, you have priority. So that's a big plus. Also, all of their ships are identical. Like, there is no such thing with Viking where oh, I don't want to go on that ship. I don't even know the names of the ships because it doesn't make any sense to even remember. They're all identical, right? So one of the cool things that Viking does, when it comes to rivers, for example, we all like to think that things are going to go perfect, but sometimes there are low waters in the rivers of Europe. And sometimes you have a situation where people, the ship might not be able to get across a certain lock or a certain point within the rivers. And one of the cool things with Viking is they can actually have one ship get up to here and then the other ship get down to here, and then they transfer people from one ship to another. And you literally won't even notice the difference because the ships are that identical. The Viking will take care of moving your luggage and moving everybody. And by the time you come back from your shore excursion, you're already in the new ship and you didn't even notice. But most importantly, kind of the experience I had on board is that Viking is not just, the ships and the experience on board, but you're a tour company. I mean, I was speaking with one of the guides in one of the excursions that we were taking, and And one of the really cool things that I was hearing is this is the guy telling me, right? This is a guy that works with more than one cruise line, right? He's a freelancer, but just like every other guide is in Europe, for example. But what he was sharing with me is the level of training and the education and the attention to each little detail that Viking puts in the training for those guides is unmatched by anybody else. So like, while you have all these other tour companies and river cruise companies, you know, they might hire these guides, they might give them some guidance. Viking actually have them go through this course, you know, how to talk to Americans, how to deal with Americans, how to, you know, the do's and don'ts, like so much detail that I guess it's why, you know, whenever when those guides, even though they're freelancers, you know, you can perceive that continuity of service from ship to shore that makes that experience that much better. Just wanted to add that.
Great point, Carlos, and that's actually taking place right now. Again, this was our call on Monday, because we've realized this, right? And what we actually do as we're setting up for the new season, because river cruising, I know we keep doing river cruising predominantly, but as the river cruise season is about to launch, we don't sleep, right? So that whole setup starts again in January, February on board, and we welcome all the new people. We're not just training and updating our own crew and staff, as you say. We actually have training modules now for those guides, not just for the guides, for even for the bus drivers. You know, we are, because people said, you know, we hear from our clients, you know, and saying, well, this would be nice. Why do I have to hear the same story 3 times in one cruise, right? Because we all hear about the Habsburgs on the Danube, you know, and so what we're doing is, again, to support the continuity of that and to customize it so that we don't have the repetitiveness, is to speak to our guide companies and speak to our guides, because it is an integral part of the experience. And so, you know, with the power that we have and the size that we are, we have the ability to do so. Being owned and operated is huge. And we are now 100% owned and operated globally. There's not a secondary ship that we charter from anyone now. Well,
you used to have
one remaining. There will be once the Egypt ship is up and running, we won't have that charter. But yeah, we'll be 100% owned and operated.
About the Egypt one, which is I think the only one you were chartering.
Yeah.
All right, that's very nice. And so, you know, obviously part of the experience, a huge part of the experience is the excursions. You know, since we're into that, is there anything else you want to add about the excursion experience? I also want to get into culinary, but let's finish up with excursions and then we'll talk about
Sure, absolutely. I rewind my life back to a year, you know, to 12 years ago, probably this very week, right, last week, and going on my first tour in Passau, and there's the church and there's the bishop's house and there's the museum, and it was like, wow, well, this is not very exciting, is it? And we kind of realized that, right? Because we're at the origins, right? And again, going back to that like-mindedness, why people are cruising with us, that continuation of education, having those bucket list moments, you know, we realized we had to expand on that. And the choices and the options now for the optional specialty experiences, again, I've got to make sure I use the right word, experiences. It's just remarkable. You know, and it's expanded to magnificence. It really has. House visits, like I said, you know, going to factories, going to privileged access experiences that nobody else can have. What we did do recently as well, just around about pre-COVID time, is, and we've continued to add more, while we're all getting younger and fitter, everybody, I've got really good news for you. Because we were always getting those comments, well, you know, I'm active, you know, I'd love to be able to do something. So now, for instance, if you're on the Rhine with us, well, I mean, Breisach in the Black Forest, we can go out for an entire 9-day bicycle ride, electric e-bike. We can go kayaking on the rivers. We can go hiking. So, you know, again, we're really catering a wider scope of offshore experiences for our clients. So I think that really is important, that we've really expanded from what we were just a mere decade ago.
It is. Margaret, you had a question. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you and spotlight you for a sec.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Oh, I raised my hand right before he mentioned some of the changes in the excursions. I just wanted to say over 50 doesn't mean creaky. And I have noticed a little bit more activity in the excursions, but I would like to suggest you continue to push in that area of active opportunities, choices among your excursions.
Absolutely, Margaret, and thank you for that comment. And I'm glad I got in just before you did, because it's true. I think there's a whole lot. There's even within a decade, right? There's been a lifestyle change, and we've again, because of the owned and operated status that we have. We listen annually. You've sailed with us, so you've completed those surveys, right? The quite lengthy surveys we ask at the end. And those are not completed and thrown away. Those are each and every single individual survey is read, and we note them and count them. So at the end of the year, when we see that, wow, there really is an uptake and request for more activity, physical activity, we should be doing something here. It allows us. It's not a light switch. We can't switch it on and off, but transitionally we can introduce more and more. And again, I myself. This year, I guess I turned into the mailing age of 55, right? I run every morning, I work out every morning, which I do when I'm on board as well. I still go for my runs when I'm on board, but to have that activity then included in a shore experience, I think is very healthy. And all indications are, from our call on Monday, that we are going to continue to add and source on some of the other itineraries that we can carry on adding more physical, I guess athletic experiences, call it what you would. So thank you. We're not creaky. We're not creaky. There you go. I love that.
I will look forward to it.
Thank you very much for the question or the comment. And okay, Darren, so all right, that's amazing. Now let's talk about culinary, because I know that's the second most important thing people travel for, right? They want to they want to go out and experience, but they want to eat well and they want to dine local and they want to. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You just entered into my wheelhouse, but just as I was saying, how health and fit my downside is my hobby and my passion and the industry that I came from prior to coming to travel. And that is the culinary aspect, right? And again, I think this is something, just as the shore experience has options and variants have exploded over the last decade, so too has it on the culinary aspect. Having our fleet-wide, and again, fleet-wide, right? Ocean, river, you name it, having those head chefs and their brigades familiar with the culinary wants and not wants of the North American palate was very, very, very important. And that started off in the past where, the chefs used to give little French portions, and the Americans would come along and what's for dinner? I'm just eating that, So introducing them to the aspect of North American cuisine, of not the cuisine, but the palate, was very important to us. And we've done so extremely well. I think also on the culinary aspect, let's talk on board, and then we can get off the ship, so to speak. The question we're all asked today, something that probably wasn't really asked for that much just again a decade ago. What about, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, and a lot more of these aspects have come into it. And again, just on Monday's call, we were learning how much more vegan options are being offered on board, vegetarian options, not just, there's the quiche, there's your option. We understand and realize, just as we have on the activity side of things, that we've got to do that on the dietary side of things as well. So these have all been introduced and growing as we speak. For those who have sailed with us, one of my favorite nights on board, and one I normally take some kind of costume for, is our taste of night, right? Where we celebrate the food of the region. If we're on the Rhine, for instance, we're going to have the German night, right? So we're going to have the music piped in, staff and crew are in there. And Lederhosen and the dreidel, and and we have a good old Carlos. I think you and I have celebrated that event together.
You guys have no idea how Darren looks on those.
And it just brings it. This is why we're here, right? And then it's just an amazing awakening, a celebration of the regional, and that comes down to our menus as well. I'm just pretending, right? So let's open up our menu, and on the left side we have the chairman's choices. Those staples are there every night, should you wish to do so. From the Caesar salad to a New York steak to a grilled salmon, always available. Then you look to the right of the menu, and there's the regional menu set out with an appetizer, a main, and a dessert of that region. Sometimes you can't even pronounce them. The wait staff will help you. They'll explain it, and you may go, oh. What better time to adventure and try something while you're sitting on the ship? Because my goodness, if it's brought to you, don't like it, there's nobody's judging. Here's the next item for you, and if you want to pick from this item and that item and customize your menu, absolutely go ahead and have fun in doing so. I think that's the beauty of it. Now, we're not all pegged into the same little box that we used to be, right? It used to be the option, it used to be the staples, and it used to be, here's today's menu. And that really has, again, diversified. And again, very much so on the wine aspect as well as the culinary aspect. Right. And then so much more to do off the ship. My favorite thing of all to do is the, shopping with the chef. When there are towns and ports where they have these magnificent fresh produce markets, the Naschmarkt, for instance, in Vienna, to go along with chef who has these great relationships with the vendors, go in there and just taste the cheeses and the meats and the wines. That's where my eyes are. We've got an even better one on the ocean ship, because we can do it at the kitchen table. It's a small group. It is limited to 12 participants because of the size of the chef's table, but that is a shore experience, right? It's a dining, but it's a shore experience that you partake in and sign up and pay for. Again, you go with the chef to the local market. There, you're buying the produce and to bring back to the ship. And although you've paid all this wonderful money for your cruise, we're going to make you cook your own dinner. But it's hands-on. It's a culinary aspect. It's like a teaching kitchen. And then we all come back at the evening. Those 12 folks come back, and you finish. You do the final preparations. We dish, we plate, and we all eat in a common table. That to me is what I look for in travel. So, I'm sorry I get too passionate about that, but it really is remarkable that, again, what we've done to elevate the culinary experience.
That's great, because that is very, very important. And I have a couple more questions. By the way, guys, I am seeing all your questions come through, and we will address all of them at the end. And Darren, we do have quite a bit of them. So yeah, I want us to talk about a couple more things, but let's try to leave enough time for the end to address some of these questions, which I know are going to spark even more conversation. So okay, so we spoke about the experience, we spoke about on board of excursions, all that stuff. Let's go into the Viking fleet. Let's again, I don't want to, and I have some imagery here, so I don't want to bore all of you guys with a whole bunch of pictures and explanation, but let's try to go through this relatively quickly. And I'm going to share my screen real quick. We're going to start with a river, obviously. So tell us a little bit about these.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the vessels that revolutionized river cruising, right? When we were speaking back in 2013, they are the Viking longship, and they are unique in their design, even patented in their design, because what differentiates our ships from others is that bow, right? The front of the ship, as you will see, it's squared off. In true Scandinavian fashion, the lines are straight. And because we're straight or longer, that's enabled us to expand the sun deck all the way forward. That means our vessels have 3 full decks throughout the ship. having that square bow has also allowed us to dedicate that area to both dining and viewing pleasure. It is superb. The Scandinavian contemporary design will be found through the beginning to the end across our entire fleet. Our architects and designers are the ones that have got on board with everything that we do. So what you feel on the river, you'll feel and see on the ocean, you'll see and feel on all our fleet worldwide. Multiple categories of accommodations. So we always truly believe that there's something there for everyone based on your square footage as well as on your budget. The previous slide that Carlos showed there was the brand new vessel that we have in, or one of the brand new vessels that we have now have operating in Egypt. The third of the ships will be launched later this year. Again, this is what I was referencing to earlier, where we will no longer be chartering ships from third-party companies, but rather building, designing, crewing, staffing, managing ships, such as we see here on the Nile, wonderful little intimate vessel, only 80 guests, or the one ship only has 60 guests. And we've taken the same concept, the same feel, but kept it colonial, matching with the river here on the Mekong. This is the Viking Saigon. Again, a very intimate vessel. We've kept that design to the colonial feel, but it is Viking pattern, that Viking terrain. It really is remarkable. And you continue to see this pattern, right? Because here is the Viking Mississippi. I like to say that the Viking Mississippi, she's a hybrid. If you look at that lower deck where the dark windows are, the public areas, that whole section there, if you blanked off the upper decks, you'd be looking at a Viking longship in Europe, just twice the width. But then when we look at the second up to the fifth decks of the accommodations, for those familiar, going, oh my goodness, that looks just like a Viking ocean ship, because that's exactly the feel and the concept that we were going for and aiming for. And we've done that remarkably well. And again, we could be looking at these restaurant scenes, this Aquavit terrace here, that's the alternate dining venue and viewing area. I was just talking about the rivers of Europe on the longships. Well, we find it on the ocean, we find it on the Mississippi, and it's the same feel throughout. And I think that's really magical, because what we are seeing as our clients are joining us, let's say, for example, from the rivers, and then joining us on the oceans, and then to further field and locations such as Egypt and the Mekong. And then they're going to join us on the rivers here in the United States domestically. And then on the oceans, as we see here, the same concept. Ships that are built for discovery and departure. It just, open spaces, warm, welcoming, those contemporary Scandinavian fabrics that we use, the light woods, the metals, but glass. Glass is a major feature of all our designs, because that allows the light to come in. It's welcoming. And again, just as we've done on all our vessels, we truly believe that there is something there for everyone with those wonderful touches. The Explorer Suites, you're going to find them on the river ships. You're going to find them on the ocean ships. You're going to find them on the expedition ships. Again, these are names. The restaurant is called the restaurant. It doesn't matter what ship you're on. It's the restaurant. And what becomes is that people feel at home when they come to join us on any of our vessels. And that continues even onto the new products, such as the Viking expeditions, which when you step upon it, you feel like you're on an ocean ship, but on a smaller scale and even more welcoming. But some, added differences, obviously, to expedition vessels, because for quite a long part of the year, we'll be down in the Antarctic region, right? So, the opportunity to sit out on balconies will be very limited. So we have what we call our Nordic balconies. The staterooms have the lowering and the hiring of the glass in this Nordic balcony. So it's kind of a balcony inside, as you would. But wonderful, spacious accommodations, very simple. We've kept those straight lines. Look, now we're looking at another restaurant image that looked very similar to what we were looking at when we were looking at the Viking Mississippi. It's streamlined, and it gives that wonderful Viking feel. You're on a Viking ship, regardless of where you are joining us in the world. And I think that's one of the beauties of streamlining and getting that brand. That's the very reason why today we're simply called Viking. because everything is under that one umbrella. It has that same feel. With the staffing and the crew go through exactly the same training. Our clients are sourced from the same regions. We've got that like-mindedness again. It's where do you want to travel? And I think that's the only thing that differentiates is where we are globally.
Yeah, just a quick note. I think the biggest difference between the ocean and river and others is your spa, which I have to mention on board your ocean ships. I mean, I haven't seen too many spas on board ships like the one you guys have. It's just insane. So just wanted to mention that.
It goes back to what you said earlier, what I said back earlier, Mr. Hagen, the true believer. If you're going to do something, do it right. There is no space on a river ship to do a correct spa that everybody can enjoy. You can always some cruise lines take a stateroom out, right? And they put a treadmill and an exercise bike and call it a spa, a gym. It's not. It's fine if there's 3 or 4 people. What happens if 180 people want to use it? Impossible. So that's why he dedicated so much time and effort to the spas on the expedition and onto the ocean to ensure a correct, proper, real spa experience.
Okay, and just very quickly, we talked about it as we talked about the ships, but just a quick recap on your destinations, which I also think is important to mention. And I have this map to help us illustrate what we're talking about here. So
right, this is the map of the ocean world of Viking, and basically it's the world of it's the map of the world, isn't it? Because again, Carlos, just as I mentioned, as the ocean fleet is now expanded to 10 ships, what is this allowing us to do? The ships are identical. It's allowing us to position ships globally, but seasonally, providing your clients a wider array of booking dates to choose from. I'll use quickly Australia, New Zealand as an example, because it's central there in this map. We are able to then position a ship in November and keep it through their entire summer season all the way to March. So again, not everybody can fly down to Australia, New Zealand, on the same couple of weeks. But because now we are operating down there for that almost 4-month period, it's a wide array, and that goes globally as well.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So, I mean, we covered quite a bit. Obviously, a lot of the people that are here today, I'm sure we got many of you guys excited about cruising with Viking. Those that have sailed with Viking before, I'm sure you're going to want to do it again. And those that haven't, hopefully you're going to want to try it. And so I didn't want to miss sharing with you guys some of the current promotions going on with Viking. Those that attended today's event are going to be eligible to $200 shipboard credit as an event exclusive. But there's also a very unique opportunity that is not available for everybody out there, which is a free air on some ocean. So there's not a lot of availability left, but there's still some pockets of availability for 2023. And there's a free air promotion that you guys can take advantage of, and as well as a free air and free Silver Spirits package for River, also for 23, that is available also, not out there for the public, but since you're here with us today, you can take advantage of it. And it is combinable with the $200 shipper credit. So we don't have all of the itineraries available on the free air promo. It's only available on new bookings. I want to stress that out. It's only available for new bookings. So if you're already booked, I'm sure you already got a pretty good rate yourself. But for new bookings, you guys are eligible for, on certain itineraries, ocean and river, for free air, as well as $200 shipboard credit. Not on the $200 shipboard credit is on any itinerary. The free air is on select itineraries, both for river and ocean. So just want to make that clear as well. But if there's something that you're interested in, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to connect with one of our advisors and make sure that we share with you guys the specific itineraries where you can find this promotion available. All right, so time for questions. I know we have many, so I wanna go through them and make sure we don't miss a single one. Let me see, hold on 1 second. Let me expand this. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to start reading from the top all the questions that have come through. I know there's some comments, there's some questions. There's some stuff that we have already addressed. So if we did, but you feel that we need to address it even more, let me know. I don't want to skip a single one. So if I happen to do so, it wasn't on purpose. Okay. So, so it's already in advance. All right, so Stephen, we'll have a second life to ask a question. We are on the 2025 New York to Bergen voyage. Will the Norway portion be affected by the country's upcoming emissions restrictions?
My goodness, Stephen's really doing his homework. And the answer to that is no, because actually that requirement will be coming to place it has to be abided by 2026. I'm not privy to share too much information with you, but I know Carlos is also familiar with the fact that while I just mentioned the 10th of our ocean fleet is just being launched, we still have 6 more coming up over the coming years. And these brand new ships that are going to be launched during this time are going to be built in a manner with propulsion manners, let's say, without laying too much out, that will help us abide by those requirements. Keep in mind that our chairman, Mr. Hagen, is Norwegian, very well connected. So we are quite aware of these requirements, and future builds are going to help us map. But you're going in 2025, and all cruise lines have to have this in place by 2026.
Good to know. And like you said, not a lot of information can be shared so far, but I think everybody at Viking and at the trade can feel very comfortable to continue to sell those itineraries even beyond 26, because we know that you have plans to comply with those recommendations. People are not going to feel it. All right, awesome. Bernard, we are booked on River Ocean Cruise from Basel to Bergen this coming May. Is it possible to buy Silver Spirits package on the river portion only?
It's a really good question. You know, we have some we have limited combination cruises, as we say, where and you're gonna have a wonderful time, I must say, enjoying both the river and the ocean segment. You know what, I've never been asked this question before, and I would hate to go out and give incorrect information. These are built as what we call a butterfly cruise. My logic tells me that you should be able to, but I would hate to provide you incorrect information. Carlos, that's one I think the guys will have to get back to you on.
Okay, Bernard, first of all, we'll try to have an answer by the time we share the recording of this event. Hopefully we'll send it together with the email. But Bernard, I'm gonna make sure that somebody within our office reaches out to you with an answer. First of all, introduces himself and then or herself, and then with an answer on that question specifically.
Not often I get a question for the first time these days, but yes, that's one.
Warren, where can you find the cost of extra excursions so we can understand better the cost of a cruise? Warren, whenever you're ready, just so you know, the way we work as an agency is you have your cruise advisor that is going to take care of everything that has to do with planning the trip itself. But then after you book your cruise, you engage with one of our concierge advisors. And those concierge managers within our company will take care of helping you plan every single thing for your trip. So, getting information on excursions, or getting information on restaurants, or getting information on transfers or flights, pre, post, whatever, all that is part of the job of your complimentary concierge that comes with doing business with Luxury Cruise Connections. Now, that said, if you have questions before you actually book your cruise advisor at Luxury Cruise Connections can provide you with that information so that you have all your T's crossed and I's dotted before you commit to your Viking cruise. So we will be happy to find that information for you and then extend it to you. Kathy, we booked directly with Viking for October 2023 cruise before we learned about Luxury Cruise Connections from someone of the Viking Atlantis to Antarctica in December. Anything we can do now, or do we need to wait until our next cruise to take advantage of your services? Darren, why don't you answer that? Obviously, we want to establish relationships long-term, but if you have booked directly with Viking before you know of us and you want to transfer the reservation over to Luxury Cruise Connections, that is possible with certain restrictions. Darren, can you?
It is, and it's you know, within the industry, it's quite a fair one, we believe. If you've made that reservation in the last 60 days, Carlos and the team of advisors can simply obtain your booking number from you. Their advisors will then be able to call into our reservations and have it transferred over to the agency. Regrettably, though, that is quite a strict timeline that we abide by.
How many days?
60 days. 60 days, 2 months.
And if they previously had a relationship with an advisor at Viking, will that advisor get hurt by transferring the booking over to us?
Not at all. So that's another one I hear quite a lot. I love my Viking, rep or reservation agent. I would hate for him to lose out. He's done all this work for me. Do not be worried about that. Once their commitment is made, they are still rewarded and taken care of. It's that 60-day window which is the most important. So do not fret that your agent's gonna lose out.
And once the reservation is transferred, it transfers exactly as it was made. There's no changes to it. It just
none whatsoever. Basically, once it falls under the auspice of Luxury Cruise Connections, of course, as a client then of Luxury Cruise Connection, Viking reservations and support team do a great job, and that they can answer general questions. But as far as making any amendments to that reservation, which would affect the reservation financially, that would have to come from an advisor at Luxury Cruise Connections.
And the good thing is once that happens, then we can add all of our services, our concierge team, our amenities, our extra perks, our all these little things that you get by being a client of Luxury Cruise Connections. And by the way, I'm just gonna use this opportunity to say this. A lot of people ask me, like, how does it work? Why would Viking want to pay you guys a commission for something that was already booked? And
we don't have the manpower.
And that's just the truth. You guys rely. I mean, the largest amount of reservations with Viking are handled by advisors such as ourselves, and you guys rely heavily on us to service and provide this amazing experience for these clients, which entails everything beyond just the cruise itself and just the planning experience. You rely on us to enhance that, and so that's why the client doesn't get charged a single penny more. In fact, you get all these benefits for doing business with us. And then Dilip was asking, I have booked with Viking directly. We're missing out the extra. Yeah, okay. Yes, we addressed that. So thank you. One of our advisors is going to reach out to you soon, and hopefully we can establish a relationship and take good care of you.
Can I interrupt here? Just on my question. This is Dilip here. What basically Viking has done is they have transferred their cost of customer service to you guys, more or less. That's what I feel. They want to concentrate on actually the rest of the business, and you are going to do their stuff. I mean, that whole cost, this thing they have transferred, which is a good thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. But somehow I am a new customer. I somehow feel a little left out of this thing. I mean, it's a gray area which should have been told to us.
Dilip, I like to take full responsibility for that, because we should have done a better job at reaching out to you earlier and establishing a relationship with you. But don't worry, we'll reach out to you. We'll see what we can do about your particular bookings, and we'll figure it out. You're going to be in great hands moving forward.
I fall within the 60 days. Could I have your phone number so I can call you about this?
Yes, Ruth, one of our advisors will reach out to you as well, and we'll take care of you as well right away.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Susan and Jerry was asking the same question, so happy to address that as well. Jerry, like we said, happy to establish new relationships and take really good care of you guys moving forward.
You can see when we were discussing what topics by the questions coming in.
Yeah. Susan is saying Luxury Cruise Connections agents are wonderful. Last summer at the end of Viking Cruise, our flights were canceled. We were in a foreign country where we didn't speak the language and the airport was under construction. I couldn't find anyone from the airline in the airport, nor reach the airline on the phone. I called Steve Golko, our luxury cruise agent. It was the middle of the night in Florida. He made connections for me and stayed on the phone with me until I got help over an hour. Thank you, Steve. Susan, thank you for the comment and the endorsement. And Steve, thank you for just being an exemplary an example of Luxury Cruise Connections and what we do. I mean, that is the essence of our company. Just using those opportunities to enhance the relationship and to really go above and beyond when it comes to service. Why do all the Zoom participants look older than 23? I don't know. I don't know.
That's
because we are.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Why? Going back to our target audience and our demographic, I'm glad everybody looks over 23.
Yeah. That's what Viking. That's who Viking is targeting. That said, I know for a fact that everybody that goes on Viking just feels at home, just like you said, because the experience is really catering to while a diverse group of people, just a very cohesive group of people as well. Larry's asking, why does Viking want to be paid in full 1 year out before the cruise? Larry, I'm going to correct that. Actually, sometimes farther out.
That'll be fortunate.
Yeah. So Viking's actual final payment policy is 2 months after you make your deposit. That said, there are very few exceptions here and there, especially ones that sometimes we can get for you, where you're able to do 1 year prior. And in very certain few occasions, it can be 6 months, and that's only with certain very few exceptions when you have another Viking cruise booked and so forth. And we can help you navigate through that. But I think just to be straightforward with the question, why does that happen? Why does Viking make people pay so far out? We want to know.
You are committed. And again, it's when you look at the fact that 2023 is almost but done. 2024 is ahead of the curve for what we expect. We've therefore opened up 25 already, because people who have been disappointed in the dates that they can't get for this year, couldn't get for next year, they're moving to 2025. The demand for the product is such that, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, to secure a space on your particular cruise, on your week that you can make it, or your 2 weeks that you can make in the category you'd like and the stateroom that you'd like, the commitment is there, and that's for that very reason.
I'm going to put it in other words. Viking. So, I mean, I can say this, because we deal with many different cruise lines. Viking is the one cruise line within the entire industry with the lowest, and by huge amounts, lowest cancellation rates. This is a fact, okay? And I'm talking about double-digit difference between other cruise lines and Viking. And I think it's a very, I know it's not great for the client, it's not great for the guest, but at the end of the day, I think it's a very smart business decision, and in a very weird way, it helps all of us, the trade and as well as clients. And here's why: when you know that you have such low cancellation rate, you're that cruise line that doesn't have to be dumping prices at the end of toward closer in. So when you book a Viking cruise, you are almost guaranteed, and it's not 100%, because sometimes prices do vary, right? And promotions come out, but it's such a minute, it's such a small amount of cases that you rarely ever hear Viking guests saying, I see the price just went down, and why did I pay so much more? It happens with every other cruise line. It does not happen with Viking. And how Viking did to ensure that didn't happen is by getting that commitment from clients so far out, Like, and therefore reducing their cancellation rate to literally less than 4 or 5%. I think it's 3 to 4%.
That we can then move on.
And you're basically that's what's been happening basically is, you know, that if you want to sell with Viking, you have to book far out, otherwise you're not going to find availability. Chances of something canceling and opening up later on are very slim. But at the same time, what that does, it also ensures that they're not going to be dumping the price later on. So you know that the price that you're getting, you're almost guaranteed that it's the best price you'll possibly ever get with Viking, because if anything, they'll go up.
Hey, Carlos, can I just add to that?
Yeah.
Especially, Viking has very good extensions, either pre or post cruise. If you're thinking about doing it, do it, because they have less availability on the pre and post cruise extensions than they do on the ship. So later, if you say, oh, I want to do it, you may not be able to add it. So just wanted to bring that up.
Good point, Steve.
Thank you.
70% of our clients who are joining us on cruise are actually taking the pre and post. So that, again, another factor to that as well, Steve.
Interesting stat. Okay. John, try to book excursions that are included, but site states no excursion available. Will the free trip?
John, thank you. Yeah, this is a systems error that occurs occasionally. This is what we call a loading error. You are purchasing a Viking cruise that includes those complimentary shore experiences, every port that I mentioned. Therefore, you will get to book them. What happens in that particular case, please reach out to the advisor. Sometimes we're not aware of them. What we then do, we get our operations team to open up more of those complimentary shore experiences.
So what you're saying is everybody that goes on Viking will be eligible for that free shore excursion.
Guaranteed.
Okay, good.
Guaranteed.
Good to know. Good to know. Jerome was commenting, we recently did that ship transfer on the Rhine and it was perfect. What we're talking about, where the two ships meet and then people get transferred one to another. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Also very unique to Viking. Not many cruise lines can do that.
Yep.
Why, Kathy was asking, why does Viking so badly overhype the ability for a guest to take the submarine excursions on the Antarctic expedition tours?
Oh, Viking badly overhype the ability.
Kathy, what do you mean? Do you mean that they overhype it and then when you want to take it, it's not available?
That
or when
could be.
or you can't?
And honestly, my husband did that. He's on his phone, but yeah, we loved the cruise, but the logistics and the excursion people were awesome. But we were told by our salesperson, absolutely everybody would get on the sub and there. So that needs to end. I can't recommend the cruise until Viking figures out the logistics, but Antarctica, the ship was gorgeous. The crew was fabulous, but there was that hiccup.
Kathy, you're quite, and I will stand before you and agree with you. You know, after our maiden season, I'm so glad you got the opportunity. I'm very jealous, haven't had the chance myself. I've been on the ship, but didn't get to do that. And I think you are 100% correct. It is something that definitely has been picked up again because of comments over our maiden season. You know, obviously, I know we had some technical issues with them. I know that we had some weather issues where we can't use them. And I think, you know, there's definitely going to be a softening of that message because, my goodness, who doesn't want to go down below water in the Antarctica, right? And see some of the magnificence of science and nature that there is to be seen. Even when, and I'll go one step further than that, when we're operating here in the Great Lakes in North America, that continues with that research aspect. When we're in U.S. waters and the U.S. Maritimes, we're not allowed to take even a kayak out. We have to use local. Now, when we go into Canadian waters, we're fine. So again, sorry that happened. It is that they are definitely there and definitely are an asset to the fleet, a magnificent experience if we can use them at that time. But we definitely have to soften that. And I say we have to. That has been discussed and how we should be softening that message.
Thank you, Kathy. Very good question. And Darren, can our guest book the submarine in advance?
In advance? Yes. Yeah. The submarine is actually something that gets done prior. Quite a bit of requirement. We have to obtain your weight prior, because there's ballast and balances required in order for the submersibles, the 2 submersibles. We go down in 6 people. And so this is how we have not enabled to make sure that the ballast is correct. So weights are required, and then you get weighed again when you get on board. So yeah, it's quite an undertaking.
Good to know. Good to know, Kathy, and thank you very much for that question. Barbara is asking, why don't you advertise repositioning cruises?
Reposition as in transatlantics? I mean, we do a few transatlantics. Yeah, I mean that they're featured pretty much in most of our literature. I'm just thinking now of the Wake of the Vikings, transatlantics. I mean, they are there. Here's our challenge. In order to advertise and market, as you say, every single itinerary in detail, in a booklet or such, it would be, you know, that booklet is going to become rather thick very quickly. Again, you know, it's quite, you know, possibility to tell online. Of course, contact the advisors. They will do that research for you. Give them the plan or the idea of what you're looking for, and then the advisors can find that out for you.
We'll go out there and make it happen.
Yep.
Ronald is saying our 2022 Mississippi Viking was canceled. The 24 full length of the Mississippi voyages are completely sold out. When will the 25 schedule be available, and will we have any priority to book?
It was my understanding that you're talking about the 15-day Great Rivers. I think in that case, Ronald, Carlos, can we have somebody just check on availability? It was my understanding that 2025 was already open.
We'll reach out to Ronald
for the 15 day.
We'll reach out to Ronald right away and make sure we grab a cabin for him, because
it's a great demand. You know, that itinerary, regrettably, we were a little late in launch last year, and the ship wasn't quite ready. We are restricted by that 15-day. There's only a certain time of the year we can operate it. So I think you're looking at anywhere between 4, 5, or 6 cruise dates a year that we can operate it. So that's why it's in great demand.
Perfect. How does Viking take care of seniors who are unable or have restricted movement during excursions?
Okay, so seniors, Viking guests, right? Let's put it there. We have to ensure, ladies and gentlemen, particularly when we're looking at river cruising, when we start to about wheelchair accessibility and such like that, we really have to be assured of ourselves that we are making the right choice in our vacations. Whereas we're all very accustomed to the rights requirements over here in the United States, as far as disabilities acts and such are concerned, we could do anything we want to our ships in Europe. But the moment you try to get off those vessels, Carlos alluded to earlier, sometimes you have to go through other ships to get off the vessel, right? This means that our ship, while it has an elevator, the next ship may not, or we have to go over the sun decks. It's all very intricate. And even then, once you get off the vessel, Europe, for the most part, is just not aligned in the same way as the United States. There will not be ramps, or there might not be an elevator and such like that. So that's very, very important to consider. Now, when it comes to excursions, and maybe it's just slow walkers and such like that, we realize not everybody is in the same not everybody has the same capabilities. So what we do, we provide the opportunity for those who would like to enjoy their tour more leisurely, with more breaks, maybe go to the tower, but not climb to the top of the tower. On your daily shore experience and port talk by your program director, he will highlight these for the following day. It's merely going down to the front desk, signing up for the slow walkers or the relaxed group, and that allows us to put everybody together who want to enjoy it in that manner. So there's been a great move towards supporting of that.
Good. Thank you. And Julius commented on, yes, more active excursions. That's great. Juanita was asking, does Viking plan on offering single cabins without costing the same as a double occupancy?
Yeah. So, I'm seeing that now, right? I'm understanding. So number one, all our ships are built for double occupancy. There are no single cabins on any of our vessels. Predominantly, mostly, again, because of demand, we are selling those at 100% capacity, all right? So, but in saying that, I know for sure that there are opportunities, and actually, Carlos, I shared this with your team on Monday, that there are some upcoming 2023 itineraries whereby we were reducing the single supplement rate to 175% on both river and ocean. So if there's something that Juanita is looking for this year, I would highly recommend somebody reach out to her.
Excellent. And I have, let's see, when Viking has sales, they plan to ever do single person supplements. I think we just
Same
answered
thing.
that one.
Same thing.
Barbara expressing her love. Thank you so much, Barbara. We love you too. Joseph, regarding the active excursions, I would just ask, since the excursions are booked before the cruise, I was disappointed to find a few kayaking, especially, was sold out. I would hope that with advanced booking that there will be more places available.
And again, Joseph, I sincerely apologize for that. Again, as we spoke about earlier, a lot of these excursions, particularly last year and just prior to COVID, these were new experiences that we were kind of putting on demonstrating, right? And so we were trying these out in small numbers. Again, I had the opportunity to do a couple of them myself. Very small, very intimate, because obviously then we have to reach out. We've got to make sure there's more guides and got to make sure it's worthwhile before we were able to commit to bigger numbers, not bigger groups, but more numbers with more guides. So as I mentioned, these more active tours, such as the kayak, the hiking, and the biking, are newly introduced. So it's a matter of us saying, okay, there's been now great demand over this last season. Let's move forward with extending and adding more spaces. That's the only way I can really address that.
Perfect.
Give us time and we will get there. 3 years ago, there wasn't even a kayak, or 4 years ago, there wasn't even an opportunity to kayak. So, as I mentioned, we're slowly getting into the more actives, and we'll be at more space based on demand.
Beautiful. And then James was commenting on Viking frequent cruiser benefits are severely lacking compared to competitors. I think you're referring specifically to singles. I'm not exactly sure. I think it was referring on the double occupancy or the single rates on Viking Cruises. Do you want to talk a little bit about the loyalty program? Or the I guess
or the lack of it goes back again. We might be it depends who we're comparing this to, right? And this is something it's been a conversation, particularly since we launched Ocean Cruises, because we had whole lot of new people coming over from other brands that had these very rich loyalty programs. The thing with us is, we include so much already that the decision has never really been made. So what is it that we're going to offer, and how many tiers? And I think the growth over the last few years has seen us definitely attract more guests from other cruise lines that have enjoyed free complimentary laundry, and they've included complimentary beer, wine, sodas, things that we're already offering. So I know it is a topic of conversation, has been, will continue to be so until they actually put together, and it's my belief that they are working on creating a loyalty program that's worthwhile. But the challenge for us is, what don't we offer that we're going to
we do give past guests a discount.
Past discount, yeah, we do. But I think when we talk about loyalty programs, we
you're talking about points and I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. By the way, I want a 2-second break. You guys know that I know that we've taken more than just 1 hour of your time. So if for whatever reason you do have to leave, know that we're going to send a full recording of this event later on. So if you missed the last few minutes, it's okay. You can watch it. You can watch it later. All the answers to all the questions at the end. So feel, just in case. I do want to go a little bit faster on this question to make sure that we don't miss any. Carolyn, again, on with questions on singles, I can see from the questions that there's a lot of demand for single travelers. Darren, do we expect this to change at any point?
I don't. I really don't. It's all based on availability. And as long as we continue to sell in the manner that we sell at 100% capacity, with double occupancy, it's gonna the opportunity will come around every now and then. I really don't see us reducing pricing for single supplements for a year in advance or for 2025. That it will probably it'd be more on a tactical basis for cruises that'll be closer in.
I got you. Leslie wanted to ask something.
Yeah, how do you get the $200 credit?
All right, I'm going to get to that. So at the end of the event, actually tomorrow, I believe, we're going to be sending you all an email with a recap of today's event, a video recording of today's event, and also the promotion and the certificate for the $200 shipboard credit. And I see a question a little bit later on. It is available for bookings made 2 weeks from today. So today, 2 weeks, that's when that $200 sunsets.
So if we're already booked, it's not going to be worthwhile?
If you're already booked, we can't apply this to existing bookings, but if you're thinking of maybe a new booking, we can apply it to any new booking.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, of course. Thank you. And then, okay, that's the question Margaret was asking. So when is it available for and when does it sunset? So it's available for all new bookings only, and we have 2 weeks to make those bookings and you can take advantage of it. Pamela was saying we had a bad experience on our New Zealand on Viking. We were not allowed into 2 ports because they allow larger ships into ports over our smaller ships. Did not have a good experience with Viking customer service. When we returned, Luxury Cruise Connections have helped us with this type of things if we had used that agency. The straight answer is yes, we would have been there for you to help you navigate this situation. And we our job as your advisor is not to just book your cruise and move on to the next, but really be there for you along the way. And when things don't go exactly as planned, we want to do as much as we can to help out. And because of the relationship that we have with Viking, we can navigate the complexity of that a little bit better. Not just trying to sell it, but the truth is that's kind of what we do, and that's why we exist. Darren, do you agree? I mean,
yeah, things happen, right? I mean, it is regrettable, and I'm quite familiar with what happened down there in New Zealand and such, and let's say rewinding the book through Luxury Cruise Connections, I know for sure that one of the advisors would have definitely reached out to me. I would have then taken this up internally, there's always we don't always get the answer on the first request, right? So sometimes we have to go back twice, so it's regretful to hear that. But for sure, if you had booked through the Luxury Cruise Connections, they would have got myself involved, and maybe there would be something we could have done more for you internally to be that voice.
Thank you, Pamela. Well, we're gonna have somebody reach out to you, make sure we establish a relationship and take good care of it.
One question, Carlos, which I wanted to ask you. Now, I have booked. I have a booking with Viking for July. I have only paid a portion, in the sense that I paid 10%. I don't know whatever the balance I need to pay by April. How do you rate? How do you place me? Am I a new connection? This thing, because now the $200 you are saying that it will come in only for new. Now I have not paid in full.
New bookings.
I've just booked, but I have to pay the balance 90% or whatever the balance amount by April 10th. So I'm neither here nor there.
Dilip, allow us to take your case offline. You have my commitment that we're looking to it in detail. If there's anything that we can do for you, we will do it. The idea with this $200 credits that Viking offers through us on these events is to promote new bookings, right? So bookings that haven't been deposited, right? Bookings that haven't been, reservations that haven't been made. The idea is to encourage, hopefully, people like you and everybody else that might have already been booked in the past to make another booking or reserve something new.
Yeah.
But I do hear you, and you know, we're here to help. So you have my commitment that we'll reach out to you personally and make sure to find a way to work things out for you. Okay? Of
Thank you.
course.
I thought that the small print said bookings as of February 23rd.
On the email that we sent, the email invite that we sent,
Yes.
Okay,
we'll look into that. The credit is for new bookings starting today for a 2-week span starting today.
Oh, well, the small print said bookings as of February 23rd.
Okay, we'll take that back to with our marketing team and see what happened there. But that's the credit for the event, the incentive for the event is for bookings after the event moving forward. So, but again, I don't have your name. It says Zoom user. What is your name? You know what? Maybe Denise, can you chat with her internally and maybe try to get. Carmen, you have your hand risen, so.
Thank you, Carlos. It's nice to see you again, and thanks. Please make sure to tell JC Quintana thanks as well. My question is, why do we have to just do it within the new bookings within 2 weeks? Because it's just hard to make a new booking in 2 weeks to get the $200. Can it just be like for a month or something at least?
You're putting me on the
Yes,
spot
2
there,
weeks.
Carmen.
2 weeks is such a short time.
This is all you, Carlos. I've done my education.
Well, no, just because we need more time. My husband's going through surgery. We don't know what, anyway, just 2 weeks is just really quick right now. And I don't want to take advantage of the $200.
Carmen, let's connect with JC and see if we
Okay.
can figure something out.
Okay, thank you, Carlos.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
No, and thank you for being such a great client of Luxury Cruise Connections. first of
Yes,
all.
we love you guys.
Thank you. And let me see. I want to make sure that I don't miss any other questions. I am 2 people sharing a cabin, not a couple. Do we each get $200 number credit? No, it's $100 per person. So it's 200 per stateroom, veranda, suite, whatever. And let me see, Ronald, reference to the Mississippi Viking. I'm on the Viking site and 2025 does not show up. There are 23 sailings, but I'm fully booked in 23, including 2 Viking
Oh, it's
River.
not working either way.
Say that again. Sorry. So Ronald, we'll get with you on
I
20.
think somebody was going to look at that, right?
Yep, we're gonna get to that. How do you get onboard credit for attending the Zoom meeting? Like we said, we'll send an email right after, actually tomorrow with more details on it. But all you got to do is, if we haven't reached out to you first, feel free to reach out to us. You can do so by replying back to the email invitation or just calling in and speaking with any of our cruise advisors. Just let them know that you were part of this event. You're in the list, so we'll be able to recognize that and validate it, and then you'll have access to the $200 shipboard credit. And Juanita, okay, we'll check with JC and see. JC is one of our advisors. He has been a great help for previous Viking Cruises. Thank you, Juanita. Thank you very much for being a loyal Luxury Cruise Connections guest and client. JC is an incredible asset to our company, so thank you for the kudos. Thank you for the explanation. Is the $200 available only for Luxury Cruise Connections or for Viking Cruises booked through anyone? Vernon, the $200 are only available through Luxury Cruise Connections. It is the relationship with Luxury Cruise Connections and Viking that allows us to put together this sort of events, which make you eligible for this booking incentives. So yes, available through Luxury Cruise Connections only. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity. If you haven't done business with us before, hopefully it'll be an opportunity for us to meet and connect and start a relationship, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Your email said $200 onboard credit on your next Viking cruise. My next and first ever cruise already booked. Bonnie will promise we'll be a lot more specific on our future emails, but yes, it is intended to be for new bookings on your next new Viking cruise booking. So Bonnie, I will reach out to you and look at your situation specifically as well offline. Okay. Karen, I agree. I said that for the next cruise. I have one in May. Okay, so
I'm not paid for it.
and Karen, we'll reach out to you as well. The idea, like I said, is for this event to entice you guys and inspire you guys to book a new Viking cruise. I know many of you have Viking cruises booked for the future, and which is great. I'm sure you're gonna want to book another one, and so let's take advantage of this incentive for your next cruise, and hopefully an opportunity for us to connect and meet and start a new relationship. All right. I am done with the questions. Is there any other questions out there? Is there anybody else wants to ask anything else before we let Darren go? Darren is getting nervous out there because we took a little bit more of his time than we should have. So I'm sorry.
Not at all.
A lot of good questions. A lot of really good questions. We even had a
Hey, Carlos, can I just pipe in with something? Somebody who was saying about promotions and all that, just for all the guests that are with us today, if you refer someone to Viking through us and all that, you also will eventually get a discount on your cruise that you a new cruise that you booked. Right, Darren?
Referral discount.
Yep. So it's very good to get your friends, family, whomever you're thinking about. And it does not have to be the same cruise, if I remember correctly.
Just
right?
a referral discount.
Yep, referral discount. So just another way for you to get a better value.
That is correct. That is correct.
Hi, I'd like to just make a comment. I've been on 5 Viking Ocean cruises in the last year and a half. I'm going on another one this coming Wednesday, and I have another one in August. And I just want to say that, and before that, I actually didn't, all right, I'm going to say I didn't really care for the river product. And it had nothing to do with Viking. It was just my experience with the other guests. How they were at dinner and everybody was kind of almost like they were in high school, but anyway. But the ocean product is an unbelievable product, and I'm picky. And the food is excellent, and the spa is amazing. And the rooms are just so comfortable, and everything about it is very comfortable and high end without being flashy. I mean, if you like good quality food, it's there. And it's just a very comfortable experience. And we did it all through COVID. I mean, it's what brought me to be willing to try the ocean when I said, I wasn't thrilled with the river product. And like I said,
Iceland or Bermuda?
Huh?
Did you do Iceland or Bermuda? Or were you out of
I did both.
You did both. Wow.
I did both.
Good
I did Iceland, and when it was, when it was even at the point where you had to give them a time stamp to get over there rather than a day stamp. So we had our struggles, but did Bermuda, did the Caribbean, did Mexico, and it was supposed to be Hawaii, but that turned into a trip. And did a transatlantic. And I'm doing another transatlantic on Wednesday, leaving from San Juan, going over to Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
So,
and
thank you.
I loved all of them. There wasn't a single trip that wasn't great.
Good. Thank you.
Oh, and and it is true. People don't need to be worried. People get anxious, like when I'm on Cruise Critic, I'm not getting into the restaurant, or I'm not getting onto a shore excursion. When you're on the ship, they take care of you. It's never a problem. I've been able to get into any restaurant. The staff is so fantastic. I've been able, just like you were saying, Darren, that you will always get the shore excursion that's included. It's never been any kind of a stress about that. And we do usually take the included shore excursions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and thank you for saying that. That is definitely something. I think most of the time that's a production thing, and there's a pre-cruise and there's a during cruise aspect to it, right? And I always compare it to kind of Open Table, the restaurant booking app. That Open Table doesn't have everything. But when you get, if you contact the restaurant directly or go to the restaurant, there'll be
Yeah.
some there. And that's why we have the restaurant manager on board, right? Where the guest services are. So
They
yes.
are always there. They've every single time.
Lovely.
I always keep thinking, oh, it was that cruise. It was, it won't be as good next time. And it is. It
thank
always
you.
is.
Appreciate
So
that.
I keep coming back, I keep coming back to
Yeah,
Viking
we've
when I'm
got you.
surprised I do. I didn't expect I would. I really didn't think I was going to be a Viking customer.
Darren,
and I am.
Cheryl has been a client and guest of Luxury Cruise Connections for a long time.
Wonderful.
And
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
say this, Cheryl she's not picky. She just knows what she wants because she's traveled a lot. She's been there, done that. And she wants to make sure her experience is nothing else but perfect. So
That
Yeah,
is perfectly fine. And that's what we
Cheryl,
that's
I have a
what we work for.
Cheryl, I have a question for you.
Thank you,
This
Cheryl.
is something that was interesting because I'm going to travel for the first time. And I was just wondering, since you have traveled so much with, how is the crowd there? I mean, is it friendly or what?
Oh, yeah, very friendly. And what you put out, you get back too. So if you're friendly, and if you find that the first people you start talking to, this would be true on any cruise that I've ever taken. Like, if it's not working, just move on. You're not going to get along with everybody, and you'll know that pretty quickly. I mean, we've even had dinner with people that I'm like, and not even Viking. I mean, actually, the one that comes to my mind isn't even Viking. And I'm like, that's enough of that, because people get into politics or this and that, and then you can feel uncomfortable. But the transatlantic seems to have the oldest demographic, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I'm there for just relaxing. I love using the spa. We happen to have a great weather, it wasn't rough, although these are new ships, so the stabilizers I think are going to be fine. But if you want to enjoy people's company, it's there for you to enjoy people. If you want to not, that can happen too. You can just be, however you want, it's available. It's been my experience.
Thank you.
Dale, you can do the next one.
Thank you.
I said to JC, I go, I'm going to get on this, but I don't think I'm going to learn anything because I already have been on, for a year and a half, I've been on 6 times. So, but that's saying how good it is because I couldn't if it wasn't.
Thank you for your endorsement.
Yeah.
Feel good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Cheryl, is JC still taking good care of you?
Oh, absolutely. He's a sweetheart. He puts up with me. That's what I'll say about him. He's willing to, and when I drive him crazy, he just like whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you in a couple of days.
Love JC. We love
I
JC.
push it, and I know I push it, but I do. And if I don't push it here, I'll push it somewhere else. So I'd rather push it with JC. He's gone through the gauntlet with me. He's like gone through the fire with me. So he can do that. And he just did something really good for us involving Viking with the transatlantic, getting me a better flight situation because the flight was going to be, coming back I'm in Rhode Island, it was going to take me to Detroit and back again. And he goes, let me see what we can do. And he worked on it and made it happen. So yeah, he's a great guy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Get bonus coming his way, Carlos.
There you go. Oh my God. We're going to get something.
I think Carlos knows what he has.
You're welcome, JC.
And JC.
Lovely. Thank you, Cheryl.
That endorsement for sure.
You're welcome.
All right, good. Guys, we are, I think, ready to say goodbye to Darren.
How was that 1-hour presentation, Carlos?
Yeah, well, you know what? We did it within the hour and then we allowed for questions, which is good. But like I said, I mean, thankfully we have the recording, so we'll send it out to those that couldn't make it all the way to the end. Lots of good information. But here's the good stuff, right? The good stuff is we're all about relationships. And so if there's anything else that you guys come up with, any other questions, anything else that you want to know about and you couldn't get a chance to ask throughout the presentation, send us an email. Just reply back to the email that you got for the invitation for the event. We'll get it. We'll make sure to reply back to you, get you the answers. If it's something that we don't know, we need to go up to there and we'll go and ask and then come back with you to you with answers. That's, that's what we do. We like to be very friendly. We like to be very personal. Thankfully, we've been very blessed to grow quite a bit as a company, but we will always remain very personal and very intimate and very, focused on establishing and growing relationships. So, truly appreciate all of your time, your attendance, your attention, your questions, your loyalty, and you're all an inspiration for people that want to travel. So thank you very much for being so enthusiastic. And Darren, thank you very much for your
Absolute
time.
pleasure indeed, as always.
Thank you, and hope to see you soon again. Hopefully one of these days we'll put one of these events together in person. I'm not sure how many of you guys are in Florida or in South Florida or Miami, but we will try to do one of these in person one day and invite you all for a nice dinner and a nice cocktail and something. So
thank you, Carlos. I'll be there. Thank you.
Well, you're paying for it.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Thank you all for attending, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, Darren.
Thank you, Steve. You too.
Okay.